Hello everybody, this is Amber Johnson with Helping the Good People here in Tucson, Arizona. How you doing today? So just up front, I'm going to let you know that you can like, subscribe, and share to my channel. You can share the videos. I have about 400 videos on here for your liking. It's uncut live action. I speak on topics. I put out music. I do interviews on people. And yeah, it's amazing how fast 3 years is gone and the amount of stuff that I've put out there. So today I'm just going to jump right in and discuss the topic that I have in mind, which has been weighing on my heart and my mind for some time, and it's about fear, pride, and ego. What is it to you, and whether it's good or bad, healthy or unhealthy. So I have my little book here. I like to read up on dictionary meanings and apply it to my own life. So I'm going to just read to you real quick about the meaning of fear. Unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or threat. To be afraid of someone or something is likely to be dangerous, painful, or threatening. The cause of being in the unknown and causing anxiety. It's all in emotion, really. Everything about fear is all based on emotions, whether it's from past trauma, past childhood memories, things that are stored in our subconscious that we're even unaware of why we get afraid of things. For me, my fear has come from fear of losing everything, fear of not being able to financially support myself and my family, and the fear of losing friends or family. And I've learned a lot of stuff over the years on how to deal with that fear and face it head on. There was a little spot in the Google dictionary thing today that came to my attention, which I thought I'd share because it's pretty cool. It's about a choice, you know what I mean? They said there's two meanings. Fear stands for forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. Which one sounds better to you? I like the face everything and rise. And it took me a long time to get to that point, I'll tell you. So just think back to a time in your life when you were afraid. Did you forget everything and just run? Or did you face it and rise? Sometimes I go into depression for a little while, and then one day I wake up and I just face it and I charge at the fear and say, not today. I'm not going to live in fear anymore. Because you know what? Fear is a liar, right? How many of you out there believe that to be true? You know, fear is a liar. Fear tells you things, and it puts these thoughts in your head, and then you sit there and you dwell on them all day, and then it ruins your day. Not the other thing that you're afraid of, but it ruins you. Whether you're in fear of abandonment, fear of retaliation, fear of losing everything. It's the part of facing that fear and say, what can I lose that I haven't already lost? What situations have I been in the past where I allowed the fear to take over, and in the end everything worked out? You know? It's about trusting and having faith, right? So the next time you get in that fear mode, whether it's today or in a week or down the road or something that you see from the past that comes back up to you, remember that. Are you going to face it, or are you going to run? Me, I face it. I've been known as a charger, a leader, someone that's at the front of the ship, that when danger comes, I'm going to be the first one in the front and charging. And that's the way I am. And the Lord keeps me out of a lot of things, I'll tell you, because I'm one of those people that I will jump right in. And so that's one of the things, I'm fearless. Believe me, I do have fears, but I don't allow them to control me anymore because it's an emotion, right? So think about that one today. I want you to really challenge yourself. And the next time you get afraid of even crossing your street, you might get ran over. Well, stop and say, well, am I going to die today? No. The chances are probably not. But are you going to take that step out onto that street and trust that you're smart and that you're looking both ways and that the traffic is not coming your way to kill you, right? You have no control, right? Sometimes we think we are trying to control situations and control people, things, and places without realizing that in actuality, we have no control. Not over anyone else. The only control we have is of ourselves. So are you going to allow that fear to take control of you today? Or are you going to trust and have faith? The one thing that I've realized in the last 3 years of just facing fears and being afraid of not knowing what's going to happen is when I start to feel a change coming, or I start to feel that intense emotion, when I get excited and scared at the same time, that's when I know in my gut that I'm doing it right. So if you feel that way, you feel fear and excitement at the same time, trust that. That is you facing your fear. No matter what it is, face it. The other thing that keeps people stuck in fear that I've noticed, even with myself, has been pride and ego. Now, pride is a deep pleasure or satisfaction from one's own achievements or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired. Confidence and self-respect as expressed by members of a group socially marginalized to be especially proud of a quality or skill. Now, there's good and bad pride, you know. Pride is still pride. It's being prideful in your work, being prideful in how you handle situations, right? But then there's always the negative side. And I've noticed that with a lot of people in my life, which is why I started cutting people out of my life, is because the pride gets too much. It becomes self-inflicted. It's more like self-will and not God's will, right? The negative traits are arrogance, foolishness, irrationality, and at a corrupt sense of one's personality, personal value, status of accomplishment, or high self-regard. And that right there is an inwardly directed emotion, feeling untouchable. For me, I've dealt with so many prideful people before, and that is like a turnoff to me, you know? It's like they start talking about all their accomplishments, the people that they have in their lives, and how they almost feel like untouchable. And when they start boasting about things and feeling like they're better than you, you know what I mean? And it's like, even in their conversations, you start hearing it, and it's like, wow, you're pretty arrogant there. You know, people tend to think, oh, well, I'm better than you, and I can do better than you, and I have more money than you, I have this, that, and the other. But in the end of the night, what are they doing laying there? Are they happy with their lives? Are they content with their business, their life skills, their lifestyles, the choices that they've made? Or are they even aware of it? Sometimes it takes a kick in the butt. I want to say, you know, kick in the ass, okay? In order to realize that, hey, wait a minute, my arrogance, my pride, and my ego has gotten in the way, and I've lost friends, I've lost family, I've lost my sense of worth. And in the end of it, they're sitting there all alone, living in it, and feeling unworthy, and wanting to know why. The one thing I learned about pride was that I took pride in everything I was doing and in my accomplishments as a gift from myself, you know, that I did it. But in actuality, it wasn't me that was doing it. It was my ego. It was my sense of, I'm going to be right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and prove myself. When in actuality, all I had to do was prove it to myself. I had no one to impress. I had no one to fight. I just thought I did. But when I acknowledged my own pride in what I was doing or how I was treating others, was when I really started to reevaluate my life and find out, what am I doing wrong and how can I fix it? Do I want to live in pride and ego as a bad thing, or am I going to do it for good? And that in turn spurred on all of this like stuff with all my helping the good people, what I talk about, the topics. It's all self-inflicted because I was in those situations where I lived with that pride. And I didn't even know it. You know, I didn't realize how many people I was affecting. And once I realized that, I stopped and took a step back and went, okay, Lord, what am I doing wrong? And that's when I realized that, again, I had no control. Nothing. The ego is the biggest one. There is healthy egos, of course. The healthy ego gives a loving sense of self, builds resilience and problem solving, meaningful relationships in the sense of meaning. That is the positive side of ego. When you allow other people to step in and take control sometimes and say, hey, you know what? You need some help. You don't have to do this all alone. You're worthy and you are loved. And you have meaning. And you're special. And that's what happened to me. Is someone stepped in and said, hey, I love you. You're not alone. So put down that ego. Quit controlling. And let go. Ego is a person's sense of self-esteem and self-importance. The I or self of any person. And with the negative side of it is egotism, conceit, and self-importance. Saying, oh, well, I am this way because I did everything myself. Because I can't change. Well, guess what? You can change. People do change. And you don't have to feel higher than, mightier than, I guess is the way to put it. You got to come down to the level of where we are, like little ants. They work hard. They don't sit there and fight over territories or anything like that. They just work together as a team. So that's the healthy part of it, is working together as a team. Not feeling like, oh, well, I'm all me and I'm all important. And there's no one below, everybody's below you, you know. That's what ego to me is like a sense of I this, I that, instead of we are. Oh, forgive me. I get a little emotional when I talk about this stuff because there's so much to it and so much more I'd like to say. So when someone criticizes someone's self-esteem, self-image, or feelings, they feel wounded. And that is wounding the ego. That's saying, hey, you don't like it, huh? You can talk down to people and treat people like crap all you want, but when someone actually confronts you on your own ego, it wounds you. Why? Because it's an ego boost and ego deflator. One of my friends was so macho all the time, I called him a puffer fish. And he said, I'm depuffing now, Amber, I'm sorry. But I thought it was funny because that's what he reminded me of whenever he'd get like that. He'd get all in that ego, well, I'm better than this, and I'm doing this, and la la la. I'm like, and where are you at with that? How do you feel? So the view of self, thinking you are smartest person on earth, whether it's at home, at work, dealing with people, you're no smarter than anyone else. And whenever you realize that, then you start to change. You start to really evaluate your life and your sense of purpose, huh? So I just wanted to keep this short and sweet. Forgive me. I hope that you guys understand what my motive with doing this was, to enlighten you on the differences between fear, ego, and pride, and how it might be affecting you in your life. I know that I've spent a lot of time reevaluating my life and where my fear came into play, where my ego and my pride also got in the way of my own self. And once I acknowledged that, I've done the work. I've been doing the work on healing my past, my trauma, my thoughts. And just remember, everything is about thoughts. Your thoughts control your emotions. Your emotions control your body and how you react to situations. I've lived years in domestic violence, and I'll tell you, the day that I let go of control and trusted the process of survival, I got out. And I've been better since. I let go and let God take the wheel. And that's what I recommend for you guys, is to reevaluate and look at your life and say, okay, what can I control and what can't I control? Because really, none of us have control. The universe has a plan. God has a plan. We just have to trust the process and know that we are worthy and that we are loved and we are supported and that we have to ask for help. Let down your ego, face your fear, and let go of that pride today. Stay tuned. This is Amber Johnson with Helping the Good People. Stay tuned for my next video. Have a beautiful and wonderful day.